Hi, welcome back. So today I have been inspired to film the recreation of Kim Kardashian's makeup look for her Dolce & Gabbana Ciao Kim show at Milan Fashion Week. Now, I wanted to recreate this mostly because I absolutely love the whole aesthetic of Italian couture and Italian beauty, and I think that she's really embodied this in a really modern way and in her style as well. So Makeup by Ariel created this look, and it's a very neutral look. I was having a look at the photos, and what I can see is very neutral tones. It's borderline not even brown. It's pure nude, almost like that foundation-esque lip look as well on her. She's got a very matte look, very bronze, but pure neutral bronze. I can't say neutral enough. And yeah, so I'm gonna recreate this look. So let's get to it. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to just pop some concealer all over my lid just to neutralize the darkness in my eye. The eye is very sculpted, but I want to just knock back the natural pigment in my lid because it is quite dark, my natural pigment, and this is quite a smooth, blended to the high nines sort of look. And I need to knock out my darkness to be able to make sure that it blends nice and evenly. So I'm gonna go with this color here. Now that one, it's got a little bit of an olive tone to it. So it's like an olive brown, mid brown. And for me, that's going to blend beautifully into my skin tone because my skin tone is olive. So those olive tones are going to just completely melt into a very neutral feel for me. If you have a warmer tone, go for something slightly warmer, just as long as it is completely neutral and blends beautifully into your skin tone. That's what we want to go for. I'm going to pop this mid-tone with a big fluffy brush. I'm going to just pop that all over the crease, even into this dip here where it meets the nose and it meets the brow. She's got a very smoked out area here. We want to start building it up with the mid-tones now, because if we went in with the dark shade first, it would be a nightmare to blend and it would look sort of muddy rather than smoked. Now looking at this, you're probably thinking it's not really doing much, but again, we're building this up in layers. The whole thing of this look is that it is blended and so buttery smooth in the tones and textures that you don't want any skipping. You want it to be absolutely flawless. And you've got to start off with those mid-tones to be able to blend that seamlessly. Okay, so now what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start mixing in a darker shade to that colour. So one that is similar in tone, I'm going to go for this tone here. And I'm going to start mixing it in with the lighter shade and start building up those colours. There are no specific hard lines where, the dark colour starts and the light, begins. This is very much all blurred together, which is why I'm using a big fluffy brush. If I use a smaller brush, it would create too much precision and it would create too much of a definition. And this is very much, from what I can see, very blown out. It's only in the eyeliner you actually get the actual definition, but the eyeshadow itself, it all meshes into one. So now I'm just using that second color on its own, building that up, and I'm dragging it out and up into the brow bone. Now for my eye shape, I have quite a large area of brow bone to play with, so that's why I'm dragging mine up a lot higher, just to balance out the overall shape. The main thing is that it just looks completely blown out. So the best way to do this to get the shape is to keep your eyes open whilst you are applying your eyeshadow, so then you can see exactly where you're placing the product. Now I'm going to move into a darker shade, mixing that darker shade with the mid-tone shade. And again, just keep on building that color up until you're happy with it. Okay, so this is where I'm going to start going in with a smaller brush. It's still quite fluffy, but it's just a smaller fluffy. And I'm going to just start adding soft definition in areas that I want to enhance. Now for this, I want to start building up that wing shape, so that when I do the eyeliner on top of it, it's not blunt on top of the eyeshadow. It's got a bit of a shadow to sort of sink into. But again, we want this to be a very soft brush. We don't want this to be any harsh lines there. And then go back in with that big fluffy brush to blend everything together, like so. I'm gonna put now just the first sort of layer of that nude neutral tone on the lid, just to create some shape so that I know what I'm working with when I put the eyeliner on. Just patting that on top and buffing and blending it in. Again, no hard lines. We don't want to use a flat brush or any brush which is, you know, going to pack it on too intensely, because otherwise it will go on too sharp. We want this to almost be blended in with the eye all together. Can we see? That is perfect. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go in and do the eyeliner shape. Now we're going to use pencils to do this and smudge and blend that out to the high nines. So I'm just smudging on the outer edge first, just where we did that shadow liner before. And I'm going to use a brush like this. This is the Makeup by Ariel brush as well, actually. And we're going to just start smudging that eyeliner into the shadow so that it blends in. So it almost looks like a very intense eyeshadow liner rather than like a liner. And then if you want as well, you can also grab with the brush straight from the pencil just to draw on that area there. So what I've done is I've smudged that liner into the eye, and I've also smudged it a little bit and smoked it into the white or into the nude color. Not so it's like a sharp line from tip to end, just so it blends through. This is just going to create that super smoky effect, and I really like it. And I'm just using that darker eyeshadow to blend over the top of that so it all melts together. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a tiny bit black just across that line, just to create some intensity. So when I put the mascara on, it's got something to blend into, because obviously mascara is going to be jet black, and I want everything to again look like it's sort of melting from one texture to another. And I want the same for the mascara and the eyeliner too. I may have just added a tiny bit of black coal just to press and rub into that lash line, just to create a little bit more intensity. And I'm just tightlining with that black as well. Okay, so now I'm going back in with that nude color. I'm just going to intensify that and blend all the textures together. Oh, I'm such a huge fan of full matte eye at the moment. Okay, so now I'm going underneath the eyes with the brown eyeliner. She's got a proper smoked under eye. Now her under eye is a little bit softer, but I'm going to soften it afterwards. First things first, I want to just go in with the depth first, because you may not realize in photos just how intense that has to look in person for it to look that soft in camera. So which is the reason why I'm doing this. So I'm just finding the right brush to smudge this out with, this one. So I'm going in really dark now, smudging it all together. And then when the lashes go on and everything else goes on, it ends up looking a lot softer. But it does have to go on this intense for it to look that soft in comparison to the rest of the look, which is also quite dramatic and quite intense. So now I'm going to do a little bit of a tidy up. I'm going to get some micellar water. I'm using Dr. Sam's Flawless Cleansing Water. Really like it. Super gentle, doesn't irritate my skin. I'm just going to tidy up under the eye. I'm going to start sort of shaping the shape to how I want it. Now, my eye's naturally a little bit sort of longer than hers. Kim's eyes are they're very doe eye, but very feline at the same time. So they're very open and wide, but she felines them a lot more. Whereas if I feline my eyes in the same way as hers, mine are a lot more narrow because I have a narrow eye. So for me to create the illusion that they're similar to Kim's look, I need to shorten my eye shape off to create that sort of feline yet open look. So for me, normally what I would do is I would just continue this on and let that go as it is naturally right now. But to create this look, I need it to tuck upwards a little bit more. Like so. Can you see the difference from this eye, which is, let me tidy this one up to how I would so you can see the difference organically. So can you see how I normally do it? It's definitely a lot more stretched out and feline, whereas to create her look, I've shortened it off. I might even shorten it off a little bit more, to be honest. So now curl the lashes. Obviously with her lashes, they're like, so I'm gonna have to try my best. There's actually one thing I really like about Kim Kardashian's makeup looks is that she really opens up her lashes. And I love doing that myself. So be right back whilst I put about 8 coats of mascara on just to try and replicate this. I am going to put individuals on, but for me to put individuals on, I have to do them in a different way to how I put them on my clients. Normally with my clients, I would put on the lashes first, let the glue dry, and then put mascara on. But I find it easier for me to put the mascara on, put the lashes on underneath the lashes, and then put another layer of mascara on top. Because I just want to see what my lashes are doing organically, because I do have long lashes, they just grow downwards a little bit and they do tend to sort of drop through the day. So I will need help of lashes, but I don't want to put any lashes on top because again, the whole point of this look is it being super smooth and blended, and I don't want any opportunity for any seams to show through with this look. So by putting them under, they're very, very seamless. Concentrating the majority of my mascara in the center, because that is where majority of her lashes are, rather than on the outer edges. On the outer edges, in fact, I'm barely putting anything. I think I've just put like 1 coat on, but I'm really amping it up in the center. Okay, so bit of glue on the top of the lash, and then I just place that just there and use the back of my tweezers to push that in place. And now I'm gonna just go and just put like a mountain of these on and come back to you. So now we wait for the lashes to completely dry and I'll be back and I'll put some mascara on. But for now, let's work on other areas of the face. So I'm gonna just pop some concealer just in this area here, just to tidy it up. Can you see how it just sharpens it off? This won't remain sharp. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to press that in to the edge of the eyeshadow, just so it's defined, but it's not hard. And then I'm going to just define just in this corner here. I'm essentially just sort of carving out the eye, just so that I know what the shape is doing, like so. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just do my base and come back. Okay, so I've put my foundation on. Let's continue. I've put mascara on as well. So as you can see now, there are a lot more. So let's continue. So what I normally do from here is I normally put some bronzer on. Now with her look, I'm just having a look at it now. Very much not as much bronzer as I thought there would be. It's very like minimal bronzer, even minimal blush, I would say. So let's just do what the doctor ordered. I'm going to use a minimal amount of cream bronze just on the areas that I would normally bronze and contour. It's almost like bronzer blush situation. So we're going to use the bronzer as the blusher as well. Use a tiny bit of like a actual bronzy blush just because I feel like I want to. To be honest, I just want to. Tiny bit. I do see like the tiniest fraction of colour, but again, it's like a bronze blush. I'm actually using the Refi bronzer as the blush, which is what I normally do, to be honest. I normally put my bronzer and my blush always consists of this as the base of my blusher, and then I put a blusher on top of it. So today I'm just using this on its own. Yeah, I'm happy with that. She's got very bright under eye. So first I'm going to use the concealer in my shade, and then I'm going to mix it with a lighter shade and put that on top, just so that it doesn't go grey, builds a lot more naturally. Even though this is quite a dramatic look, I still want my skin to not look like it's been caked to the high nines. So concealer first in your shade of your skin. This helps neutralize any tones that need to be neutralized. Do I generally put my concealer on after my blush? No, I do it in depending on what I remember to do first, to be honest. It doesn't really matter. I think because I want the under eye to be super, super bright, that's why I decided to go with concealer afterwards rather than concealer first, so that this can really pop, because the blusher and the bronze are not really the main focus of this look. The brightness and the matteness and the smoothness is. So now I'm going to go in with the lighter shade and just start building that color on top. I'm going to let this go on quite wet at first, let it set in for a bit, and then I'm going to blend it out. This just increases the pigment. Yeah, she's quite bright under the eyes, so I'm going to go in. I'm not going to be shy. I mean, you do also have to consider that a lot of the photos I'm using as a reference are from like flash photography, which generally does enhance how intense these sort of contrasts look versus how they might look in person. But we're going to just go with what we have to work with because I've not seen it in person. I'm using a fluffy brush to do this, so I can really, again, make sure that everything is completely blended in seamlessly. A little bit brighter here. So we're going to pop that lighter concealer in that zone too. Our whole central area is pretty bright, so we're just building it up slowly. I'm going to bring that concealer all the way around the mouth. So I'm just going back in with the lighter colour. Just because obviously now I've put everything else on, I see that I need to make it brighter because it is brighter in the photos. So just done that, just to intensify that a bit more. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm going to powder. I'm going to use the RCMA No Colour Powder. I'm going to use a powder puff. I'm going to grab a tiny amount of that and just start pressing that in to the skin. The look that she's got here is very matte. I've not put any glow, nothing on purpose, because she doesn't really have any glow is coming from within the radiance from her foundation or from her skin. No glow has been added as far as I'm aware, or as far as I could sort of tell. I'm gonna go underneath the bronze just to really define that. So I've pretty much powdered over all of my face, and this is the finish that she's wearing. It's obviously very matte. So what we can do is we can spray over a setting spray to remoisten the skin and then pat over the top of that, which I'll do right now. So I'm going to use the Revolution Matte Fix, and I'm just going to, from quite a distance, just spray that over the top, and then use the powder puff with the excess powder just to press that in. It just knocks the edge off that super, super dry finish, but makes it look flawless. So this is where we go in and we start sort of tweaking and perfecting now. So I'm gonna just start connecting and blending out the eyeshadow into the rest of the face, just so it doesn't stop abruptly. And then I'm going to go in with a little bit of a brown eyeshadow and just blend that smoke underneath. I'm using the mid-tone eyeshadow that I used, just like so. So it doesn't look like she's got any darkness in her waterline. If anything, it looks quite white. So I'm going to put a cream in my waterline just to widen my eye up. That looks more like it. Now brows, her brows are very, very defined and very full. If I do exactly the same on my eyes, it will just look so over the top. I'm going to try my best to make it as close as possible. So I actually have to thin my brows down a little bit, just because mine are a little bit wider than hers. Okay, and then I'm going to just fill them in as close to hers as possible. You have to always remember, when you are creating looks that have been done on someone else, you do have to make slight adjustments to make them suit you. You can't do it exactly the same because it will sometimes just not compliment you or look weird. I don't suit really blocky brows like how she's got in the photos or in the look. I suit a more natural feathered brow, so I'm trying to keep this as blocky as my face can sort of take, but as close to what suits me as possible, so I don't look weird. So that's probably as close as I can get it. So it's got a tiny little bit of feathering going on still, but I've pushed the brows down so they are a lot more of a block brow. Okay, so let's do the lip. Her lip is so nude, it hurts. I'm gonna go in with Taupe by Refi. So Taupe wasn't dark enough for what I wanted. I feel like I needed a little bit more definition, so I went in with Sepia by LH Cosmetics on that, and then let's go in with the lipstick. That is nude. Now I did notice a little bit of frosting in her lip, a shimmery gloss which has a frosting in it to create the frosting effect that she's got in her lip. Really look at the details, it's what makes the look. Okay, so I'll just put my hair down and then we're finished. How do you think I did? I think I got it spot on, to be honest. For it to tailor to me and my face shape and my features, I think I've represented it quite well. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, and I've really enjoyed creating this look. I always love recreating these sorts of glams, and whether you hate them or love them, the Kardashians have amazing glam looks. So yes, this is the Ciao Kim Dolce Gabbana Kim Kardashian look. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye.